Hi, this is Jen from North Boulder Counseling. I'm excited to do another video. I was away last week. It'll become evident in a minute. So these are a series of videos I'm making for the holidays, and right now we are pretty pinnacle holidays. We are 1 week from Christmas, and I think Hanukkah's just a little less than a week away, the beginning of Hanukkah. It's really kind of the prime for all the holidays. And New Year's is in 2 weeks too. So here we are. How are you doing? Check in for a second. The very first video, one of the things I talked about is the 4 things we're looking for over the holidays: connection, meaning, belonging, and feeling like we have something to offer, like we're valued. So there's all of those things. So I'm really trying to also make this be kind of personal and poignant in that way. Let me share with you a story about, one, why there was no video last week, and two, one of the fundamental tenets of connection and intimacy, which is repair. So we get it wrong. We get it wrong. We say the wrong things. We do the wrong things. We let ourselves down. We let other people down. That's just the gig. Sometimes we didn't know better, and sometimes we did. So myself and my husband and my son were in San Francisco, and we were in a hotel. My son had been kind of sick, and he started to seem like maybe he was coughing, but also sounded like when he fell asleep, he really wasn't breathing very well. And I have quite a bit of experience in pediatrics, so I kind of knew what the cue signs were. So we're in a hotel with no car in downtown San Francisco, and we don't know the area well. And I call, the doctor on call and ask what they think. And like, you got to bring him to the children's hospital. It really sounds like a problem. Pretty scary. This is the first time he's had to have anything like that happen. He's only had, his general pediatrician visits thus far. And so I go into mama mode. And so I have a sick baby in a hospital in San Francisco. In the hotel room in San Francisco with my husband. And I am hearing my husband say things that are not what I want him to say. We won't go into he said or she said, but I'm getting frustrated with him. And so I say, okay, I will pack the bag for the hospital. I'll get everything we need. We need, snacks and whatever. We don't know how long we're going to be there. Could you please call an Uber? Yep, he's going to call an Uber. So he calls Uber, and no one can get a car seat. So in theory, Uber, for an added charge, there's cars that will come and they'll have a car seat. Because we're in downtown San Francisco. We've been on the train and we've been on the bus. We didn't even bring a car seat. We had no intention of using a car seat. So he calls several Ubers. Nobody's got a car seat. So then he starts calling Lyft. So then he starts Googling things to try and figure out if there's some other way to get Lyft or some other ride with a car seat. So meanwhile, it's getting later and later. I think it's maybe 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. And I'm getting more and more anxious and scared for my baby, and also just worried about what's going to happen at the hospital. That's not usually a snuggly time for a family. It's usually even an easy visit to the children's hospital is usually very stressful for everyone. And even the best children's hospital, luckily we're in San Francisco, great children's hospital, big city, that we were even lucky enough to have a children's hospital. But I'm getting, we better get there soon. I can't wait anymore. So then we have a decision to make. We have to figure out how to get there, and we don't have a car seat. It doesn't look like we can get a car seat. And now I'm in an elevated place. I've already been frustrated with what he was saying before he was getting on the job of getting an Uber, and then an Uber not coming. And so I'm saying things that I probably wouldn't say if I were in a better space. And he's saying things that he wouldn't be in a better space. But there's also just, like that vibe of like we're both kind of, and of course our tiny little baby is just like, he's not a tiny baby, but our kiddo is, like he just wants to feel better. So we both kind of paused for a moment. I don't know who first said what, but said, okay, we need to get to the hospital, and we figured out how to get there. So we did get there, and he's okay. He's totally fine. He's got some medication and a little bit of support, and we got back home fine. But what happened was, at one point, we just agreed that we needed to pause on what was happening between us, because neither one of us could let it go in that moment. We both felt like we were really pretty hooked into the story about our own injustice, how we'd been mistreated, and the other person was either wrong or hurting us. But we needed to focus on our son. So we kind of dropped that and focused on him, and we agreed that we would talk about it later. Here's the thing. One, nobody said that the other person was off the hook, kind of thing. So we had to repair. We both said things that were junky, that were crappy, and they were coming from a place of fear, and they were not in line with how we actually know each other. And so this is the part, especially in the holidays, the volume. So the volume for us got turned up because and I think a little blip just happened, but hopefully it's still going on. The video's still working. So our volume got turned up because of the location and the condition, all the stuff. But the holidays also turns up the volume, like the stress kind of being the volume. Like everything that we normally have, habits in certain relationships and the way we treat each other and all of these things, they are always kind of like hanging out, but they just get more. And sometimes the more is great, right? Like the part of the reason we even keep doing the holidays is because everything gets turned up, and hopefully also the good stuff too, right? So some, like, we just have some really nice time with our family, or we make a point to make special traditions and all this stuff. But also the hard things get turned up, which also gives us the opportunity to practice repairing. Repair in a relationship is the foundation. It's like the most elegant thing in relationship, I think. So my husband and I had to come back together and say, this is what I heard you saying. This is what I heard you saying. This is what I felt like you were like communicating to me that felt hurtful. And then the other person saying, well, that's not what I was thinking. I was thinking this other thing. And so we actually had to sort of re-communicate the whole interaction. It was a do-over. You just get to have a do-over. And here's the thing, like, not all of us know how to do this, and it's a really wonderful thing. If you don't know how to do it, if you want to learn how to do it, there's people who do. You probably could learn it in mediation, but of course I know about learning it in therapy. The book Nonviolent Communication, and I'm sorry, I'm looking at my bookshelf, I don't remember the author, but if you Google Nonviolent Communication, that's the name of the book. It's kind of, I think it's a little dry, but it's very directive and clear about how to have these kind of conversations when there's contention and you need to do a do-over. Because a lot of times we're hearing from our people that we love something that they never said. We're actually hearing our own stuff. We're kind of just in our own world. So the ability to have a do-over is what allows for long-term sustainable intimacy. And not just, I'm not meaning sexual intimacy, I'm meaning like personal deep connection. So it might be with your sister or your grandmother or whoever, or your best friend. Having a really rich relationship, you have to be able to screw up and have a path forward. So get it wrong and then repair. So starting to think about, how do we be gentle in the repair and patient in the repair and generous with ourselves and the person that we're working with. Sometimes the argument that we had with someone or the problem that we had with someone, not sometimes, most of the time, has a lot to do with how we're talking to ourselves. So we start kind of getting either mean to ourselves in our head or just like freaked out, like everything's not okay, like I'm not going to be okay, or the world's not okay. And so it's so much more about what's happening for us than the other person. And when we are pointing at them, then we're actually missing ourselves in like kind of a sad way. Usually if we got upset like that, we needed some help and some care, and often we wanted the other person to do it, which is a nice idea, but we're generally the best people to at least know what we want, and then we don't do a great job communicating it when we get upset. Okay, I'm not going to go on. I think my last video I did was like 20 minutes or 25 minutes or something. It's just meaning to be 5 or 10 minutes. So anyway, looking for the places where you can make repair and appreciating that something that was painful or kind of a place that went asunder or there was a disagreement, when you come back and make repair, the whole thing is 10 times richer than if it had just gone well in the first place. You afford each other something that you don't get to when everything just goes right. You communicate how important you are when you take the effort to make a repair and fumble and be awkward and just kind of figure out like, okay, how do we repair this? That is an indication to you that the other person is showing up and they care, because this isn't the smooth, easy part and they're still showing up. And it's an indication to them that you care too. So this is a wonderful thing we can teach ourselves, that we get to repair things. When we screw up, there's always a repair. You know, if you've screwed up really big in your life, it might take years to repair, but there's always a repair. So it's a really sweet thing that I'll often work with parents with too, is your kids are going to screw up too. You're going to screw up. Let them see you screw up and figure out the repair. And when they screw up, the answer is, okay, you screwed up. So tell me, what do you think the repair is? And a lot of times, especially this is a great one with kids, because they'll come up with answers that are just awesome. You're like, whoa, that's like a way better repair than I thought of. So when you're giving yourself crap and you know that you let yourself down, or you know that you let someone else down, you can give yourself crap as long as you want, but when you're ready to move on, the question is, okay, what's the repair? That's it. What's the repair? And then you get to have that connection, and that connection will allow you to make the meaning that you want this holiday. And that connection, that repair, gives a really deep sense of belonging. When we know that we can screw up with someone and we can go back and make it right, and we still get to get loved and we still get to be their person, that's a really rich sense of belonging. So anyway, good luck in the pinnacle of the holidays, and I really hope you find the connection that you're looking for and find places, have enough things go wrong that you get to repair. Okay, take care.